Michelle, you can unmute yourself if you can hear me. Let's see, I'm not sure how to unmute participants right here. Just unmute. Hello.
I think I did unmute myself. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, hi.
Oh, there we go.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
You're still rocking the Cultura thing. Is that back on?
Yeah, it didn't stop.
Okay, no, I thought they had shut down in the pandemic, and then you were kind of hard up there for a bit, but
Yes, so we did close for maybe 2 weeks, and then we started to do like to go things. So that we were doing to go all the way through, and then when we opened up, we brought people back up on board. So
yeah. Hi Ken, how are you? Yeah, or just I think a host of folks will be showing up here in a sec, so if the conversation gets interrupted, I apologize. Yeah, and then I'm just waiting for our host to join, or our Samuel to join as well. I am so excited. We've got 2 deposits in so far. Some really interesting folks, like artists, and so that's really exciting. And then the interesteds are dynamic, to say the least. So I think having the group together is going to be really quite fun. This is Kim, by the way. Kim.
Hi.
I'm not sure if you met Kim, Ken. She came to Soma 3 years ago, or 2019? 2019.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, but I'm not sure if we would.
Yeah, right. A lot of people come through. All right, Alan.
Yeah.
I found my first black trumpet at Soma.
Yeah.
Before he
Yeah, the first black trumpet that almost anyone had found at Soma, I think, that year. I was like, oh, great, I've got competition.
Yeah, cool.
Alan, you can go ahead and unmute yourself if you like. You don't need to turn on video. I'll give, let's see, it's still a minute before. Hi, Alan.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, good. Pretty just getting this thing off the ground here. Ken, I hadn't been communicating you on interest. Did you have any particular questions about the event at all? You can type them. Can cats come? Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if cats come.
I don't know. Is it vaccinated?
Yeah, because right now I guess it's just us. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and you can answer them now, and I can use the springboard if other people are joining. Welcome, Caitlin. Hello. Caitlin is one of our has joined up, and we're very excited for that. Okay. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I'm well. I'm in Minneapolis, and we're having like a heat wave here, and it's terrible.
Oh my goodness.
We're just not used to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, rainy season has just started here in Chiang Mai. I almost said
yeah.
Yeah.
Sandra, you can unmute yourself, or I can ask to unmute you.
Ooh, it's hot in here.
Yeah, it is hot in here. That fan is so
We don't
loud.
have a fan on, but
The fan is so loud that we may have to turn it on real quick.
open a window.
Yeah, so if anyone has any questions right off the bat, we can go ahead and I can field those right now. I'm unfortunately with my Zoom only gives me 40 minutes once 3 people join. So we're sort of limited on that. I went ahead and posted the brochure in the chat, and everybody can grab that if they haven't already, although it's the same information on the website as well. One update that we have received, if you haven't been paying attention to the chats and whatnot, Huerva de Agua, which is this gorgeous petrified waterfall has been closed because the locals there are demanding that the government give them a cut of the entry, and
So we're fine with that.
so we're fine with that. We think that's great.
We support wherever the aqua being closed.
Yeah, we support it being closed because it's the community is asking that they get their schools rebuilt and their facilities rebuilt, because it is like thousands of people per day coming through there, you know. So that's one thing. That's actually the very end of one of the days, or the very furthest destination of one of the days, and it doesn't really hinder sightseeing or anything. It's a cool spot and a reason to go back later.
And it's actually in the area of where all the mezcal
Yeah, the
palenques are, as
palenques.
well as Mitla, which is an ancient ruin, all in the same area. And one of our dear friends that is deep in the mezcal industry has offered to set up an afternoon to see the palenques with his close friends. So we're excited to get sort of a private tour with our good friends of some mezcal distilleries.
Hi, Lori. Let's see, she's in here somewhere. Oh, hello. I don't think I've hosted a Zoom actually in a while. I've been on so many Zooms this last several months. I don't know, Ken, you were there for the Soma one? I've actually presented since August. I've been presenting to various mycological groups on the mushrooms of northern Thailand, and that's been really fun to do. And it is now just as of we just got back up here to northern Thailand a week ago, and as our arrival timed with the rain, so it's now time to get out there and see. It's actually the same mushroom season as Mexico. Thailand has, and it's interesting. Chiang Mai and Oaxaca are almost at the same latitude. So it's and the food is similar, the climate is similar, the hill tribes and fashion culture. It's very odd to have focused so much time on that and come here and be like, oh, this looks the same, except different. Same but different, as they say here.
Same but different. Do we have Sam with us?
We don't have Sam with us quite yet, but maybe this is Sam. Let's see. I don't know whose iPhone. It just says
I have
iPhone.
an iPhone joining.
Yeah. Let's see. And Lori, did you have any? Okay, go ahead.
I think that's Nancy.
Oh, it is. Okay, great. Well, go ahead. If anyone has any questions right off, I think that'll probably help with everyone, because I imagine people have similar questions or similar interests. I don't know. When Sam comes, I can let him answer, although we have most of those answers as well. So any questions from anyone?
Where's everybody coming from?
Oh man, it's all over. I believe Caitlin is coming from Minneapolis, and Michelle will be coming from California. Yeah, it's quite a big reach, you know, because I've been speaking to the myco groups all over the country.
We have a few people from Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City, right? Yeah, so it's kind of all over the place. And one of the reasons that I don't do the airfare is just because it's so.
Because it is.
Everybody was coming from one place through one airport, I think it would be a lot easier. But because of Skyscanner and oh, Fulgencio is coming. Yes. All right. This is joining now is our friend Fulgencio, who we had another myco trip.
Here, hold on. Fulgencio,
Fulgencio.
hola.
Hola, amigo. It was so great. Yeah, so that's one of the things, because of Skyscanner and because people can find their own deals from their airports or whatnot. That being said, Kim has volunteered to at least do a cursory search on Skyscanner from the various airports, so Minneapolis, Salt Lake City, Portland, San Francisco, and sort of show what might be the best routes, or you know, because sometimes if you come in a day early, you actually save several $100s versus if you come in on that day. And you know, we're happy to help people if they come a little early to get rooms and find a place, of course.
Yes. Well, why don't we get started while we're waiting for Sam with introductions, and then maybe you can walk through the key highlights of the trip, and then that will give everybody a foundation to ask more questions.
Great. Yeah, awesome. Well, if you don't know me, I mean, my name is Zachary, and I had actually intended, Kim and I had intended to be living in Oaxaca at this time. And due to the pandemic, we ended up, oh, there's Sam.
Oh, great.
All right.
Yay.
This is our host, Sam.
Mhm.
Hi, Sam. How are you? And so we, once the vaccine started rolling out, we realized that this is something we could get going again. And so we kind of dusted off the brochure and updated it for 2021.
Gave the gang a call.
Gave the gang a call.
Said,
Like,
hey, y'all want to get this together?
and they all said, yeah, that sounds great. So we're really excited. We're actually going to be flying back from Thailand, spending about 2 days in America before taking off for Mexico. So we're really excited about that. Although I think we're going to be saying Sawadee Kap, Kap Kung Kap a lot instead of Muchas Gracias. So we have to train the Thai out of us. I'd like to, if Kim wants to give a brief introduction on her role in this as well.
Sure. I'm Kim Hunter. Zach and I have been traveling to Mexico together for the last 3 years. We're getting married next year in Thailand. And yeah, I've been an avid traveler to more than 50 countries. I love to get to know people, connect with them, ask them their names, learn about culture. And that's how a lot of our sort of adventures and opportunities unfold as we go out and explore. And that's how Oaxaca really unfolded for us, was sort of taking the time to get to know folks and nurture those relationships. So I'm really happy to be along for the ride. I also started working with Hill Tribe artisans here in Thailand this past year to support artisans that have been affected by COVID. And I'm very excited to support weavers and learn about natural dyeing as part of this as well. I think that textiles tell a story of our culture, just like our food and our foraging. And so excited to see sort of the whole thing that encompasses Zapotec culture and share that with you guys.
I mean, I think that's a great lead in. Sam, would you like to do a brief intro? You can unmute yourself. I don't think I have the power to unmute you, actually. If you click your little unmute button.
He's on his phone, so it might be
Let's see, ask to unmute. That work?
Oh, yeah, I have spots in my house.
All right.
So hello, my name is Samuel, and I'm here in Teotitlán del Valle, Oaxaca, where I will be hosting you guys for a trip. This is our ancestral land. My family has lived here, you know, since the dawn of our civilization here 10,000 years ago.
Amazing.
When they used to live on this mountain up there.
Wow.
Before we even had a town, hunting, gathering. We still have our sacred spots up there, and yeah, it's an option to hike up there too. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to, you know, meeting everybody on this trip. I met Zach and Kim, I think through friends of friends during the trip in Oaxaca. Then we were in the mushroom hunting festival and had a great time, and just keep wanting to do more of that, you know.
Yeah, that was
yeah,
so fun.
Yeah, that was amazing in Guajimaloyas. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to, you know, sharing, you know, all the rich history and the cultural gems of Oaxaca. And you know, it's something that we take pride on, just being from this land. So yeah, that's who am I.
So Sam, I'm gonna come back to you and you can talk a little bit about Dixa, but I'm gonna let Alan introduce himself as well. And just so we have everybody on there, and then we can do a little introduction on what Dixa is, what it means for what Teotitlán del Valle is as well, and kind of talk about what to expect. But I'll let Alan go ahead and give his introduction.
Sweet. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Alan. I like to hunt mushrooms, and so I'll be there to identify all the mushrooms for you.
What's your experience with mushrooms in Mexico, Alan? Just so, for people that don't know.
I've been looking for mushrooms in Mexico since 2007. And I think I've had about 40,000 pictures of mushrooms that I found in Mexico. So I've been all over, mostly the south of Mexico.
And what do you expect? Do you know about in September? What do you think we might be finding in the area?
It really depends on what kind of habitats we're going to.
Yeah.
But higher elevations will have more edibles, and lower elevations will have more diversity and more interesting stuff.
Mhm.
One thing I'd like to see is mushrooms that glow in the dark.
Does that
So
happen in
if there's-
Oaxaca also?
Yeah, I've seen some of those in the cloud forest of
Oh,
Oaxaca.
cool. Oh, very cool. Awesome. And then do you know much about dyeing mushrooms? Because one of the things, you know, there's a woman, Alyssa Allen, she's sort of taken the reins from some of the older mushroom dyers. With these folks get together and use mushrooms to make dyes for wool. And when I was down in Teotitlan de Valle, we learned about natural dyes, but mushrooms were not among them. And so one of the things that I was hoping to do was bring some of the natural dyers down and see if we can't find some of the mushrooms that actually also contribute to the natural dyeing pantheon. Do you know about those much, Ellen?
Yeah, I think we'll see those. There's Phaeolus, Hydnellum, and Sarcodon have lots of color.
Awesome, so cool. So hopefully that's something that we can also get into a bit, using mushrooms to make dyes. So you guys have met everyone. I'd like to turn it back over to Sam to kind of talk about Dixa, because we'll be spending 5 out of our 6 nights. Well, I'll give a brief introduction. So what we're going to do is we're going to meet in Oaxaca City, and for everyone arriving, it's quite easy to get from the airport into the city. And the first night we'll stay at a hotel in Oaxaca City, and we'll have a big dinner with one of my chef friends at their restaurant that night.
And this will be sort of in the historic center of Oaxaca,
Right.
very walkable,
Cobblestone
streets, like
yeah.
very cool.
And then from there, the following morning, I think we're going to go up to Monte Alban and sort of introduce Oaxaca as the ancient area that it is. Monte Alban has been there since I think at least 2500 BC. If not before, as Sam said, you know, the place has been occupied for 13,000 years. So we'll start there, and then we'll head up to Teotitlan de Valle at Dixa, and that will sort of begin the in-depth, hands-on adventures. So Sam, do you want to talk a little bit about Dixa and what it is you guys do up there?
Yeah. Also, the word Dixa in our language is Dirza, and it's the word that we use for language. It means words from the clouds. And I just use that, you know, not a name to call our little family business, where we've been making rugs as they are, you know, since at least 500 years ago when we started using wool. And in that, we've always gone to the markets, and even, you know, before, we'll invite people to come over, see the workshop, and you know, see how the rugs are made, and have them, you know, spend time to learn, you know, on the process of how they're made, and then have a different appreciation for the craft. That's how it all started. And then I think since 2013, when I came back from England, I had heard of Airbnb over there, and I started opening up rooms on Airbnb, and then that's when we really started hosting people on a constant basis, to give them an opportunity to be fully immersed in our culture. And you know, right away people were asking, oh, you know, I would like to do cooking classes or horseback riding, because we have horses in the farm. And yeah, things just grew organically from there. And so that's like a fully in-depth cultural experience that we are offering on this trip, from different perspectives. Food with the local traditional pre-Hispanic dishes that still survive. There's some of them that use almost no European ingredients. That we've been eating for 6,000 years, like hasn't changed, and the grandmas keep. Of course it evolves, but it's the same like ground recipe, and we have ritual foods. We have foods that we eat every day. We have foods that are complex, like a mole with like over 20 ingredients, 30, and foods that are just comfort food, so simple, just fresh elotes with herbs that we can gather during the rainy season, chapil, and tender blossoms of the squash plant, we call guias, and yeah, just the squash flowers, like everything that the milpa food system provides starts feeding us since since we start planting, like 2 weeks after, even I think a week after we plant, we're already harvesting quelites, which are weeds, like those wild amaranth species that feed us and nurture us. And I think by that time we would have been planted, so we might even gather some stuff from our own fields. So that's what we do. We offer people a chance to, we just open our doors, open our hearts, and we just let everyone make what they want of their experience. We're just genuine people here, and we just it's not like a 4 or 5-star hotel. It's not, it's a homestay. This is where we live, this is where we work, this is the real deal, this is how we live, and it's kind of what we've opened ourselves to, and we've met incredible people through this like just way of life. And my parents haven't traveled the world, but they've met people from Russia, China, all over the US, South America, Germans, and I still don't have kids, so whenever there's kids here, they're grandparent mode, they're like like, so it's amazing. I think it enriches us both ways, and that's why we keep doing it.
We had a question on one of the Facebook comments about cultural appropriation. And being not Zapotec myself, I didn't feel like I was qualified to answer that question. Although it seems like when you're learning directly from the people on the land, it's not really appropriating.
It's appreciation.
It's appreciation,
right? Totally. And I actually do spend, before I teach you anything, I'll talk for an hour about our culture, the importance of it, and just even before I show people my rugs, I always take the time, like, to share with them, this is our history. This is also our community heritage. Like, it's not even my I don't even own it myself, as an individual. These patterns and symbols have been kept by many families in my community, and even I don't claim like ownership of them as an individual. And that's why we, like, up until like I think early 90s, nobody signed the rugs, because it's a community thing. Like, who could claim, like, I designed this life cycle symbol that has been used in pottery for like 4,000, 6,000 years? Like, nobody. So, and then how could a designer come and claim that because they took our class, then they could use our patterns or techniques? And we will talk about those things for sure. And what we are trying, the way I see it, the way I see it when I started doing this, the world needs a textile revolution, just like we had a food revolution, and now people are growing their own food, and people are buying organic produce. But with the textile, it's still people are used to cheap clothes, and it's just a slow movement that's growing of the handmade clothes, natural dyed, and organic fibers. It's growing slowly, but you know, I think in order to change our current production and consumption system, we need to heal our relationship with weaving, which is one of the first skills that we acquire as humans. And you know, just the stuff that we wear, how it's made, oppressing a lot of other societies that live in less conditions. You know, for sure they're in Thailand and in Asia. You know, all the cheap manufacturers that go down there, you know, to bring foreign investment to produce all the cheap clothes that, you know, developed countries then can afford to buy, you know, wear a couple times and throw away.
Mm.
So the more we inspire people, you know, that when we spend, you know, 4 weeks or a month, or back in the days, they'll spend like, you know, 6 months weaving a huipil that will wear on their wedding day, or that their grandmas will inherit to their granddaughters, with, you know, the cosmology of their people woven into it.
Wow.
Then, you know, you really appreciate that item, you know, you really wear it for life. And that's my definition of slow fashion. Everything else, it's a fad. But, you know, I'm just joking with that saying, but
Yeah.
No, we agree.
that's kind
We're
of,
all
we
the
want
same.
to inspire people and say like, hey, you know, this is also a weaving heritage, and we all have, you know, an ancestral lineage that needs healing. You know, our ancestors, we're the voice of our ancestors. And I think, you know, also when we forget about them and we don't dig and don't find what we call a true face and our true heart, then you know, we're always empty and keep seeking things everywhere. But you know, where our heart is, it's where we should go. And we just hope to inspire people, you know, like also a lot of these techniques are common all over the world with slightly different variations. And I think everybody has a connection, you know, like in any culture with some kind of textile or weaving. So yeah, that's what we're aiming for.
Awesome. Yeah, that's super thorough. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And if you go to the Dixa website, of course, you can see some photos from the area. I did want to address some questions, and Feng was in particularly detailed on that. So one of the questions was about accommodations. For this event, there are, I believe there are 4 rooms that are open. Or there's 5 total rooms: a king size bed, a queen size bed, and 6 total rooms, right? A king
Yeah,
bed,
6.
a queen bed, and then 4 rooms that have doubles, right? And
Yes.
so we are assuming double occupancy, which is one of the reasons we wanted to give. If someone booked with somebody else, that makes it much easier to sort who's sharing rooms with whom. And for folks that would like to be closer at night, of course, we would like to give them priority for the beds. They're the solo beds in the rooms. And that's one of the reasons I ask about snoring. You know, it's sort of like, how do I sort the folks into the appropriate rooms? But it's all on, except for the place where we'll stay in Oaxaca on the first night, which will be more of like a hotel or posada. All of it will be on Dixa land. So we're all within the dwellings. I think one of the houses has 3 rooms. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's like a detached, kind of like a little apartment with 3 rooms, the kitchen and a bathroom. And then we have 3 other separate rooms next to our weaving courtyard. So that could be like weaving quarters. And those are just detached rooms, like separate. And the bathroom, you have to walk a little hallway to go to the bathroom, which is at the back. So that's the only difference. Yeah. But the size and the arrangement is the same.
And then to answer the question, there was a question. The question is, have we led this trip before? Well, not this particular trip, although we had dreamed this up during a Oaxaca foray that happened during Guelaguetza, which is an incredible celebration in Oaxaca. If you ever get a chance when the world comes back to somewhat normalcy, the month of July in all of Mexico, but it's in particular in Oaxaca, is a Guelaguetza month. and Cuajilamoyas, which is up at 10,000 feet, does a mushroom festival at that time, and that's where we had met Sam. And that trip, we actually spent the bulk of the time in Veracruz. We were in Oaxaca for the festival, and then we traveled over to the other side to the jungles, and Alan took us up and down all over in the mountains of Veracruz. So this will be our first fully Oaxaca-centric trip. So that's pretty exciting. Let's see, we got that one.
We're just watching time because I don't want us to get cut off.
We only have about 40 minutes before Zoom will cut this. So as far as transportation, we have, there's several options for passenger vans. And so we will all travel together in a van that's run by a company that we will hire, and they will come and pick us up for the days that we're going to go up and around. And the question is, will travelers required to be vaccinated? Please be vaccinated. Yes.
No. Yes, you are required. You have to send us your proof of vaccination, primarily because Mexico has not had access to the same vaccinations as America. The indigenous and villages have been deeply affected by this. And one of the reasons we decided not to go to Mexico last year or to do any tours last year was out of a deep respect and care for the health of our hosts and the people we're spending time with. So yes, vaccinations will be required.
Let's see, how far will we travel into the forest for mushrooming? Well, that kind of depends on Alan and what he sees with his eagle eyes. But I think it'll usually be about probably 2 to 3 hour stints between meals. And if we do if we figure out that, we'll probably come a little early and scout in the area. And so if we find a spot that it was going to take a little longer, we'll pack lunches. And we'll go out like that, but it shouldn't be, we won't do any like high elevation terrain. It'll be mostly flat ground. And if we do hike down as we did before, we can have the van meet us at a place to pick us up. So less on the strenuous side, although there will be obviously some hiking through the woods. On that regard, I do want to remind everyone, it will be rainy season in Mexico. So prepare to bring footwear, and some light rain jackets. It's not cold, but it can get cold at 10,000 feet at night or in the evening, but it is going to be somewhat wet. So please do be prepared to come for.
And this year in particular, it's a wet year. We have like good early rain, snow.
If you like foraging or mushrooms, you'll be like, yay!
Yeah, totally. It's the perfect year for that.
And then Sam, I think that you are helping to arrange a lot of the abuelas, the grandmother cooks, for the cooking lessons and whatnot, and most of that's going to be arranged through Dicha, right?
Yes, yeah. I mean, we'll call our grandmas and the family, and they'll be the ones with my mom and my aunties. Like, it's the family-led thing.
Yeah.
So
so the first night, as I said, we're going to go, and I think we'll probably go to La Olla. Sam, if you know Pilar, she's become a great friend, and she's just such a wonderful host. And so we'll probably go to La Olla, which is Laolla. You can look it up online. It's in town. And she is a major proponent for female mezcaleras and for female chefs. And she really does some incredible work on bolstering sort of the traditional meets the modern, and how to integrate those two, which I really feel like Oaxaca is the emblem of that, the emblem of how to take 10,000 years of history and make it modern and present it in a way that feels like in touch. I don't know how else to describe that, but
simple and sophisticated, depending on which way you go.
Simplicity, right? Yeah, and Pilar is a wonderful lady, a wonderful chef, and we met her because Kim bought me a cooking lesson with her, and she's just phenomenal. She's a wonderful woman. So that would be our first night in Oaxaca City, and then we'll head out to Dixa for the rest of the time. I think that got most of the questions.
Any questions from the non-email?
Go ahead and unmute yourself if you have any questions, and it can be anything from mushrooms to whatever. Yeah, Caitlin?
I'm curious if I'm looking at flights, when I would need to arrive on the 8th.
So
just time-wise.
at any time on the 8th, you can arrive. Transportation from the airport is super easy. I will reimburse everyone for their transportation from the airport. It's basically a shuttle. It's quite simple. They handle lots of people coming in.
Or depending on once we get details, we may send drivers to pick you up in groups and bring you back.
Yeah, right.
We'll take care
So
of it.
sometime on that day, and we're happy to host for people that arrive at any time during that day.
And if you'd like to come a day earlier, we can get the hotel to offer accommodations for that first night at a good rate. So
Yeah.
you can also get in a day earlier if you want a little more time. So
Yeah.
happy to facilitate any of that for everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions from anyone specific?
I was wondering how to spell Dixa, so I can look it up and see what kind of mushrooms are around there.
Dix is Dixza. They're located right in Teotitlan de Valle, which was just right down from when we headed up to Coaquimaloyos.
Yeah,
last time.
we went up and around Teotitlan de Valle. I just threw the website into the chat there if you want to check that out as well.
Okay, yeah, I see it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's links there to Google Maps and my Instagram. And if you wanna, start following us, I'm always posting things about what's happening with the rains, the farm, and with the rocks, the symbols, the patterns, the dyeing. So.
Yeah.
Oh, and then also on excursions, there will be, there's 2 additional optional excursions, horseback riding and a traditional temescal, which I'll be.
Which is a sweat lodge.
Which is basically it's a sweat lodge.
Right.
But we can let Sam share more about the temescal. But they're optional because not everybody likes horseback riding and not everybody likes to be in a hot room. But if you want to experience those things, I will be leading the field trips on that because I enjoy both.
So far as that goes, all of the costs for those activities go directly to Dixa. Like there's no like extra funds on that. So that's basically optional things that you can do with the community. And the same also with alcohol. There will be some mezcal that will be passed around, but generally we don't cover alcohol because I don't want to say, oh, we're going to pay for alcohol and like 3 people don't drink and then they're like, I want my money back. So any extra drinking will be on you. Same, with if you want to buy extra rugs, things like that. Those are basically the things that aren't included. Other than that, it's all transportation, all meals, all tours. Everything else is taken care of. Like once you arrive in Oaxaca, other than your extracurricular desires, we take care of everything through the course of the trip.
Yeah, so maybe I'll talk just a little bit about the temescal and the horseback riding.
Yeah, please.
So the temescal is here. It's an ancient method of healing, an ancient relationship with the 4 elements. We have earth structure, and we'll do the Zapotec version, which is as it has survived, through time and with the changes of time. And it's definitely not, a touristy curated experience. Like this is our local curandera who other villages come to, for healing. Traditionally, you go to a temescal if you have some body ache, joints, back pain, or some kind of all sorts of just physical unwellness. And after women give birth, they do temescal for 2 weeks, like constantly every day. Also helps stimulate breastfeeding and just recovering from the partum. So this lady, Doña Soledad, she's just well known for that, and people come from around the village and from our village to her. So she has it's an earth structure, it's like chest high with a small little door. And the idea is that we crawl in through this little door to crawl into the womb of the earth. The floor is layered with leaves that are medicinal. We will lay down there, and the healer comes with us. And traditionally we go in naked, but we could work it out if you need to wear a wetsuit or swimming suit or that. And then she comes in, and then we would be laying. I think 3 or 4 people can fit in at once. So we'll have to do like rounds of those. It's a small earth structure.
Awesome.
So, you know.
Before you
So yeah,
before
she
you
will
say about the
repeat that.
horses, I just want to interrupt real quick. I'm afraid that Zoom might cut us off at any time.
You know, a
So,
message said that this Zoom meeting now has unlimited time.
oh really?
But anyway,
Oh,
it
great.
popped out on
Oh
my
my God,
screen.
Mercury
I
in
don't know if
retrograde
everybody-
blessed us.
Well, we can go ahead and push on. I did want to really connect real quick. Fulgencio, did you want to introduce yourself?
Maybe let's give a background. So Fulgencio is another one of our partners in Mexico that we had planned a trip to Azochitlan to, which is just north of Mexico City.
That trip is actually still in detail on the website that has the current Oaxaca one as well. It just says delayed. So if you want to look at that, that's an entirely different area north of Mexico City that we had talked to Fulgencio about hosting as well. So if Fulgencio, if you'd like to introduce yourself at all. Yeah.
Also, he was still sharing.
Yes, I know. I just was afraid I was going to cut off.
Well, it's not going to cut off now, so we're okay.
Yeah.
We're like just waiting for it to go black and everybody to disappear. Well, anyway, over there's Fulgencio.
Yeah.
Hola, hola, saludos desde,
Hola, Fulgencio.
saludos desde México, a Casochitlán Hidalgo, les saluda con mucho gusto. Me disculparán que mi inglés es muy malo, entonces les estoy hablando en español. Espero podamos conversar desde aquí de este bello municipio de Casochitlán Hidalgo.
No problemo.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, no problemo. We'll continue this conversation. Thank you for joining. I appreciate seeing you.
But we do look forward to getting a trip together with Fulgencio when we can.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
really, but we're excited to have so many active partners around Mexico.
Yeah. Go ahead with the horseback trip, Sam. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. Mucho gusto, Fulgencio. So yeah, so that's the Temazcal, and the whole thing takes about an hour to 2 hours, depending. You could go in like multiple times, and then you rest, and then they'll feed you some corn drink, and then you wrap up like a baby. We recommend doing this like in the evening, like just before going to bed, so around 6-7 p.m. And that's the last thing you do in your day, and then you go to bed and you're like sleep like a baby. So that's the Temazcal. And then the horseback riding, my brother he's like a horseman in the family, and he has this passion for horse riders and horses. I only do it when I have to. Like today we were chasing a cow, and that's why I was late for the meeting. And it was like, okay, we need to run a horse. But I enjoy it, you know. I enjoy just feeling the power of these animals, and they're amazing to work with. So what we do is, depending on your level of skill, we have in the farm, we own 2, 3, 4 horses that we can, and we have, you know, the mare, and for chasing. She's super agile. If you are experienced, we'll give you a horse, you know, can gallop and can be agile. But if it's your first time, then we'll call our neighbors, like, okay, we need like old horses, like, you know, like really tame ones. And we've taken, no, my brother-in-law and I, kids, you know, like 8-year-olds, like, you know, first timers. And, you know, these horses we can trust little kids on, and all the first timers go on them, and you know, they just follow the leader, and it's just a slow pace. We could do an hour to 2 hour ride on the foothills and go around the little, we have a little dam, like a little lake, where a lot of migratory birds arrive from all over the US, Canada, and Alaska. And or we could also go through the cornfields and the agave fields, and just follow the main roads. That should take about 1 to 2 hours. And if you want, you know, we could set up even like a 4-hour ride, you know, when we do both, you know, we do the whole town, circle the whole town.
Wow.
Depending on, you know, people's experience. And you know, I think we could even coordinate it in like a day, do like
Ken's got a
1 hour.
camera. That's amazing. He's like, by the way. Well, fantastic.
So yeah, awesome.
So for anyone that is interested, I'll just reiterate, if you are coming solo and you get your deposit in before June 20th, then the total cost is $1,500. So there's a little motivation to join. If you are coming with somebody else, that's the cost for booking a room together. That's if you are coming with someone that you want to share a room with, just because it makes it so much easier for us to arrange how to put people in the right double occupancy rooms. But I believe that is just about all the things, right? So if anyone has any other questions, please go ahead. And otherwise, feel free to message me. If you don't have my email already, I will leave it here for you. You can ask me directly. There's the email in the chat. And yeah, does anyone have any other questions? Yana, if you could send me your direct contact, I'm not sure we've actually been in communication yet. I would love to reach out and make sure. Oh, if anyone didn't see also, Yana, the brochure is at the very first part of the chat that you can download the file. And then you can also, I'll put the website for it in here as well. Kim, do you have anything to add?
No, just I'm really excited that this is coming together, and excited to see whomever is going to join us in Oaxaca. You know, this is really an invitation based on years of spending time there and really just falling in love with the culture and the people and the artisans, and really excited to share Oaxaca with people, particularly after the last year and a half. You know, we didn't know when we were going to make it back. And so we're really excited to be going and spending time with you and Sam and some really wonderful people.
Can we ask something?
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, hi.
Hi. Can you talk about any add-ons, like anything afterwards?
In terms of post the trip, or you know, we will be staying around in Oaxaca. We have friends there and are looking forward to connect with, and we're more than happy to direct people to you know, various ruin sites, museums, mezcalerias, restaurants, and things that we love. And there'll probably be a chance to interact afterward.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say in terms of sort of the tour, we'll do one night in Oaxaca City, which will sort of give you an introduction to the city, and then we'll really go out to see the area of the Oaxaca Valley. So if you did want to stick around, I think the tour ends on a Wednesday. If you were to stick around through the weekend and stay in Oaxaca City, I promise you there's plenty to do, and we'd be more than happy to sort of give you our list of what you can do in the space.
Great. I think maybe to get that list ahead of time so we can plan our travels. You know?
For sure. Absolutely, would love to do that. I mean, the coast of Oaxaca is nothing to miss as well if you have the time.
That's a little longer.
The coast is not as easy to access. You kind of renting a car is kind of a thing unless you're an intrepid traveler. But
we can provide the options. There are actually cheap flights from Oaxaca down to the coast if you want to go and beach it for a few days. There's also lots of accommodations in town and lots to do in town. So we can provide some options and give folks an idea so that you can plan sort of a longer trip as well. We'll definitely be sticking around for a few days.
Before and after.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Thank you so much.
What do you say, Teotitlan de Valle is about 30 kilometers outside or closer, Sam?
Yeah, it's 38 kilometers from the city. Like a 45, 50-minute drive, depending on traffic.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, really close.
Great. Well, thank you guys all for joining. Fulgencio, it's so good to see you. And if you have any other questions, please email me. You can message me directly. And if you have thought of anyone that you would just love to go on this trip with during this, this meeting is recorded, and I will share the recording on YouTube and share it with all of you guys. So if you want to share it with friends that have questions or want to see this, that will be an option as well. So yeah, if everyone feels satisfied and has their questions answered, we can wrap this up.
Ken, what's the name of your horse?
Ken, what's your horse name?
This little guy is Sky. He's like 30 years old. He's a mini.
Wow. So cool.
That's he's like
he's not very well behaved either. So
I love his scoop.
Yeah.
He doesn't agree.
Zach,
he's
out? Is your book out about the Thai mushrooms?
You know, I just sent it to
no.
Thai mushrooms. No, that one is early on. I did just send my book on Northern Thai cuisine to the preliminary editor. So that was the first one I wrote. And in writing that, there are several mushroom things that came up. But we just got word that several of the early species that come up are now out in the outer markets and in some of the roadside stalls. So we're really excited to get out there and start picking and cooking. And I'll be posting a lot of the recipes or just techniques, what I'm doing on the Mycologist book Instagram, and also on the Food Bender Instagram. We'll cross post on there as we get into the Thai mushrooms. So that book is the Thai mushrooms is being written as we speak.
And the Thai trips are being
planned for 2022.
Nice.
Meeting the locals and finding the regional areas here that we can go. You know, a lot of people don't associate, similar to Oaxaca in Mexico, I think, when you get to 5,000 feet here, which is, there's a mountain outside, you know, right next to Chiang Mai, it's pine forest at the top. You know, you might not think of Thailand having pine forests. But you know, from 4,500 feet up or so, from 1,500 meters up or so, it's all pine, and you get amanitas that are similar to the Caesarea amanitas in Mexico. You get some really interesting bolites and some really fun things here. So looking forward to sharing that with everybody as well as this summer progresses.
Yeah, and it's been interesting here too. You know, I think much like, you know, in Mexico, I'm sure Sam has seen tourism, and just a lot of things have shut down in the last year. So a lot of the tribes and the, you know, eco tour operators that were making their living here in Thailand basically got wiped out in the last year. So what I've been doing and what's been really wonderful is that we are sort of reconnecting with a lot of these people who have lost their livelihoods and starting to actively talk about what things could look like in the future when things start to open back up, because
homestays,
it is interesting to learn that kind of side of things.
Yeah.
That's Mexico. Or no, that's Thailand.
That's Thailand in a nutshell. Also, I will.
Sam, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sam. I will also share. I did one of the most recent talks that I did on the mushrooms of Northern Thailand is available on YouTube through the Los Angeles Mycological Society. So I will share that also to the group. So if anyone wants to see a little bit more information on what that book will entail, I will be more than happy to share that info.
Yeah.
Oh,
cool.
I think with that, we will cut this out. And if anyone has questions, please let me know. And Sam, thank you so much. Alan, do you have anything you'd like to add? Do you want to talk a little bit about Mimosa Therapeutics and the lab that you recently acquired?
No, I think you've answered all my questions pretty well. Thank you.
Yep, awesome. All righty. Well, thank you all for being here, and we'll see you in Oaxaca.
Nice meeting you all. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Sawadee ka.